Hey finders, and welcome back to Fortune Finds. Today we're going to be talking about budge-proof, smudge-proof, long-lasting makeup. This video is very different than my last video. If you watched my minimalistic video, this is like the polar opposite of that. When you are looking at makeup that needs to last you all day long, you kind of need to use a lot of products. Now, I didn't say a lot of product. You really need to build up those thin layers. It's like an insurance policy. So you go in with cream products and then you use the same kind of products but in powder form to help set them and just to build up those layers so that if the first layer of makeup starts to come off, you have that second layer to really back it up and make sure that you don't lose any pigmentation. It will literally stay there all day long. So I'm using a lot of my current favorite products that I have been relying on a lot lately, but that's not to say that you cannot do this technique using any of the products that you have in your makeup collection right now. Just follow along the techniques that I'm doing. It's very simple. Before we do go ahead and hop into this video, I just want to remind you that if you're not yet subscribed, make sure that you click that subscribe button. And if you're wondering if you're subscribed and you're not totally sure, just scroll down. And if the subscribe button is gray, that means you subscribed. And I thank you so much for being a part of my little Fortune Finds family. But if it is red, then I would love it if you would click that button, make it gray, and become a part of my growing channel here on YouTube. I love doing reviews. I love sharing products that I'm testing, trying, and letting you know whether I think they are worth you spending your money on or not. But I also do a lot of tutorials like this where I just help you guys get the most out of your makeup purchases. So if that sounds good to you, I would love to have you. Be sure to subscribe and also click that bell button next to it. This way you get a notification every time I'm uploading a video here on my channel. So with that being said, let's go ahead and hop right into the video. I'm just going to take a little cotton round, alcohol-free toner. This is by Neutrogena. So you want to start off with nothing on your face. The more product there is on your face, the more likelihood that your makeup is going to move. I washed my face, but clearly there was still some gunk left over, which is why, it's always good to have a nice toner on hand. So I would go ahead and scrub my lips. This is what I used this morning, Wet n Wild's Perfect Pout Lip Scrub. If you don't have a lip scrub, you can simply dunk your finger in some water, put some sugar on your finger, and just scrub your lips that way. This way you're getting any of that dead skin off so that dead skin doesn't absorb any of the lip product that you were to put on your lips later on in your routine. To make sure that our lips are super hydrated, I'm just gonna throw on a chapstick. I am combo leaning dry. I'm a little bit more oilier in the summertime, but I'm a dry bitch, and we all know this here. So I'm going to use a little bit of moisturizer. This is the Pond's Dry Skin Cream. And if you have oily skin too, you should use a moisturizer. Sometimes people think, oh, I have oily skin, therefore I need to bypass moisturizer. Even though your skin's oily, that doesn't mean that it's not dehydrated. And if it's dehydrated, it's just going to create more oil and make you even more oily. So I'm literally just putting on a little bit, focusing this on the areas of my skin that are very, very dry. So that is my nose, around my mouth, my chin, and then I'm just spreading it out from those sections. As you guys know, my skin needs a little bit of eye cream, so I'm going to use the ittiest bittiest bit of eye cream, pat this under and on top of my eyes. In terms of primer, what does my skin need? A lot of the times here on my channel, I don't use a primer. The only primer I will say that I use pretty religiously is the Tarte Clean Slate Primer, which does go ahead and fill in my pores. I'm gonna press this into my pores. So anywhere where you have those like little holes, which for me is really around my nose. So as your skin starts to produce oil, it's only natural that your makeup is gonna migrate into those holes. So if you fill them, then your makeup can't move into them. I'm gonna go ahead and use some primers that are known to really adhere to makeup, grip the makeup, and make them last for a long time. If you are someone that has oily skin, however, I would totally recommend using a mattifying primer. I will put a couple options down below in the description box for all of my oily people out there. Both of these are wonderful for keeping your makeup on for hours on end. Hourglass Veil Primer, Milk Hydrogrip Primer. I think I'm gonna go ahead and use my Hourglass just because I'm really on like the last bit of it and I just want to finish it. I'm not using much. I'm using a very, very small amount, focusing this on the areas of my face where my makeup moves first. So that for me, again, is in my T-zone. My T-zone is just a mess. Drunk Elephant D-Bronzi Anti-Pollution Sunshine Drops. Take a little bit, so I'm just taking one pump wherever I want to bronze the face. Now, it's gonna look a little crazy at first, but don't worry. So I'm just putting this where the sun would naturally hit my face, and I am gonna start hollowing out my cheekbones. And for concealer today, I'm going to be using the Shiseido Synchro Skin Self-Refreshing Concealer, and I'm in the shade 202 Light Clair. And just put this where I normally put a little bit of concealer. It's a 457 brush, and just pat this into the skin. And I'm not going to put it on top of my lids because I am going to use an eyeshadow primer today. Now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put a little bit of contour on. So I'm gonna use the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Contour Wand, contour the lips a little bit, damp beauty sponge, and I'm just gonna press this into the skin. And if you go a little too far down, don't worry about it because we haven't gone in with foundation yet. So you can use that foundation as a little bit of like an eraser. For foundation today, I'm going to be mixing two together. It Cosmetics Your Skin But Better CC Plus Cream. This has been my favorite foundation this entire summer. I've absolutely been loving this. The CC cream is a little bit thick. You know, it has SPF 50 in it, so I feel like that's kind of a given. But I'm going to add a little bit of this Nars Natural Radiant Longwear to just give it a little bit more of a slip. Half a pump of the It Cosmetics, a full pump of the Nars. I'm gonna mix this together and I'm gonna put this on my face using a little stippling brush. I'm gonna place this in the areas of my face that only has that primer. So anywhere that we didn't bronze or contour. And then I'm gonna make my way over to the contoured sections later on when I have barely anything left over on my brush. So you can go ahead and use this to just clean up the contour. Maybe if you brought it in a little bit too far, you can cut it off a little bit. Okay, and now there's like nothing left on my hand. I'm just gonna take the sad little bits that are left, and now I'm just gonna brush this over the contour and bronze sections just to help blend them in a little bit. I, for one, like to use all of my cream products first before then going in with any powder. So I'm gonna move on to the blush. MAC Glow Play Blush in the shade Cheer Up. I love this brush. This is the Hourglass foundation brush. It's so amazing. I use it for so many things. And I'm just gonna pat this. I'm gonna bring it over my nose a little bit just because I feel like it's so cute and so sweet in the summer, just to have like that little like W across the face. A little bit of liquid highlighter. This is the Marc Jacobs Do You Drops. So I went ahead and just dispersed it on my hand, made it nice and thin, put it on the highest points of my cheeks, top of my nose, on my cupid's bow, a little bit on my chin. The only thing I'm going to say about this product though is that it definitely accentuates the fine lines if you do put powder down and then this on top of it. Eyeshadow primer makes the eyeshadow last a little bit longer than a concealer would. So this is my favorite eyeshadow primer. This is the MAC Painterly Pro Longwear Paint Pot. I'm going to pat this on the lid. There is such thing as putting too much of this on, and you don't want to put too much of this on. Use a very, very small amount. I've used all of my cream products, so now we are ready for powder. Laura Mercier Translucent Setting Powder. I don't know if you can see how much I put in there, but it's not a lot. The fluffier the brush, the more it's going to disperse the product and spread it out evenly. It's not going to like pack the product on. All over the brush. Pat this really, really gently into the skin. And I'm setting my whole face. Denser brush, Morphe M0. I'm going to pick up some more of that product and I'm going to pat this underneath the eye. I hate a greasy looking brow. Does anyone else experience that? After I've worn my makeup for like 8 hours plus, my brows can sometimes get like greasy looking. So I'm going to take a little bit and just run it through. I didn't pick up any extra powder. I'm just putting whatever is left over on that brush in my brows. Billion Dollar Brows Brow Butter Brow Pomade in the shade Taupe, and I'm not putting a lot of product in the brows. It's all about light layers. You know when you paint your own nails and you do like too many thick layers and then it takes forever for your nail polish to dry down? It's the same exact thing with makeup. So if you put too thick of layers, it's never gonna melt into the skin and it's never gonna dry. Now I'm gonna hop into my Smashbox Full Exposure palette. This taupey shade right here, I'm gonna use the same brush and I'm just gonna set my brows. Powder helps to set cream products and you don't need to put a lot. You don't need to spend a lot of time. I literally just ran that through my brows really, really quickly. Nars Laguna bronzer, and I'm just gonna take that on this fluffy brush, cheek blush brush, but I use it for bronzer. Swipe this over where I put that bronzer and contour already. In my last video, I told you to not go in with a swiping motion when it comes to bronzer over cream product, but I can swipe this time because I set the whole face with powder. So that cream product isn't gonna move, so I can go in with a swiping motion. It's gonna add a layer to the contour and bronzer so that if I go and touch my face all day, I don't have to worry about my skin poking through. Blush, Nars Orgasm. And I'm gonna keep this one further back on my cheek. I'm being a little high maintenance today, and I'm gonna use 2 setting sprays. So I'm gonna go in with my Morphe Continuous Setting Spray. Highlighter, I'm going to use the Anastasia Resi highlighter, which I'm pretty sure is discontinued, so just use any highlighter of your choice. Moda Pro BMX 265 Glow Brush, and I'm doing that while my skin is damp because the dampness will really pick up that powder. I'm going to put some underneath the brow bone, across my nose again, and a little bit on my chin. Lorac was like my favorite brand for a very, very long time there, thanks to my aunt. She used to buy me Lorac products all the time. This is the 3rd Pro palette, and it's just really pretty because it's a lot of neutrals, you know, and a lot of shimmers. Get rid of any of the creases in my eye that may have formed because we didn't set that eyeshadow primer. We kind of just threw it on there and then forgot about it. Cool taupe with the fluffy brush. This is a Morphe Jaclyn Hill JH33, and I'm just gonna run this in the crease of my eye just to give a little bit of dimension. It makes my eyes pop a little bit, and I do have smaller eyes, so I find that this makes just like a big difference in my overall face. Like it really helps my eyes look a little bit more proportionate to the rest of my face. The shade Clay, which is a little bit warmer. Same brush. I'm gonna start that on the outer third, and I'm gonna kind of pull it out. You guys know I always like to do a little bit of like a cat eye. I'm just lifting the eye with shadow. I just want to give it that like feline shape. Put it underneath my eyes. And then I'm kind of just like going around the whole eye like that. Like I'm kind of just drawing an oval around my eye just to blend everything out. I think I like this rose bronze. I'm gonna grab this shimmery shade right here on my finger, press this into the lid. And that's such a pretty color. It kind of just like blends in with that really well. Pointier little blending brush. This is a Sephora 19 brush, light gold. And I'm just gonna put this in the inner corner of my eye, just to give like a little bit of brightness there. Pop this underneath the brow bone just to add a little bit of light there. Shadow is powder, and powder tends to fluff. So sometimes you can get a little bit of that shadow in your brows, which is going to change the color of your brows. So running a clear brow gel through your brows after that is just gonna help pick up any of that pigment. So I'm just gonna brush them up. I would always recommend using a waterproof mascara if you're gonna be wearing makeup for a long extended period of time. My favorite is the Tarte Lights Camera Splashes mascara. I included this in my best mascaras under $25 or less video. If you wanna check that out, you can see like just how amazing this mascara is. I'm gonna use a typical regular mascara because waterproof mascaras are hard to take off, and I'm not gonna put my lashes through that if I don't necessarily need to. I'm gonna use the Decay Punk Volumizer mascara. So good. Lower lashes as well. If you are someone where your mascara moves a lot on you, so say it transfers from the lower lash line to your face, always make sure that you are powdering your concealer. So make sure that you have powdered underneath your eyes. I've told you guys about this trick many times. I would use a little fluffy brush like this. I would dip it in here, tap off the excess, and then I would literally just put a little bit of setting powder on the tips of your lashes. A lot of the times people are using a makeup cleansing balm and then they don't double cleanse. So if you leave that oil in your lashes and then you put mascara on top of that oil, it's inevitable. Like you're gonna get mascara all under your eyes and you're gonna end up looking like a raccoon. Make sure you're getting the oil away from your eyes and out of your lashes. So I'm gonna go ahead and line my lips and fill them in with this liner by Stila. This is the Stay All Day lip liner in the shade Pinot Noir. Filling in your lips with your lip liner is going to do the same thing as the layering of our face does. So if you're eating, you're drinking, and your lipstick starts to like dissipate, you know, that liner is going to catch you. Morphe Hot Shot. I wish the formula was like a little bit more cushiony, but this color just like, it really does something to me. And I'm going to just use this Joa lipstick. This is in the shade Adulting. We're going to set it and forget it using the Urban Decay All Nighter Setting Spray. It will keep your makeup in place all day and all night. The finished makeup look. I guarantee you this makeup will go nowhere if you follow my simple steps. And while you don't necessarily need to use the products that I did use today, I will be sure to list all of the products as I usually do down below in case you would like to go ahead and check them out. So if you do try any of these techniques, be sure to let me know down below in the comments section how they worked out for you. And if you have any long-lasting, budge-proof, smudge-proof makeup techniques of your own, do be sure to leave them down below in the comments section. I, for one, would love to check them out, and I'm sure that all of the viewers here on Fortune Finds would love to read them as well. Make sure that you subscribe and ring the bell before you leave. I had a great time as always. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and I will see you in my next one. Bye, Finders. Mwah.